CUET is very different from your board exams. Board exam is an objective exam. Sorry, it's a subjective exam, but CUET is an objective exam जिसमें कि MCQ questions आते हैं, and they are MCQ questions which have carry a positive marks and negative marks. So if you mark it incorrectly, there is a -1. If you mark it correctly, there is +5. So you have to go through a couple of MCQ questions. Now, last year we saw that जो क्वेश्चन पेपर्स होते थे वो अलग अलग ड्यूरेशन के होते थे. सम पेपर्स वर ऑफ 45 मिनट्स, सम पेपर्स वर ऑफ 60 मिनट्स. What has happened this year is that there is change in time. What is the change in time? I'll tell you. Uh, let's take a look. So examination mode, which happens, it's an MCQ based exam. Till last year, it was computer based test and OMR sheet. So majority popular exams like English, general test, they were all OMR based exams. Last year we had both computer based test and OMR test. More popular exams like English, GT were OMR based. So, students were given an OMR sheet. They were given a printed paper to read from. So paper se padh ke, they had to fill that OMR sheet up and submit. Couple of other exams जो exams ज़्यादा बच्चे नहीं करते. For example, entrepreneurship, physical education, those kind of exams were computer based test. This year, what has happened is government has said that all exams are going to be computer based test. कोई भी OMR sheet पे exam होगा ही नहीं. So what students should do now when they realize that it is going to be CBT format is first, they should be very familiar of reading from a computer screen. Doing exam from a paper, reading from a paper, which you have been reading for the last 12, 13 years is very easy. कंप्यूटर से पढ़ने में दिक्कत आती है. जब आपको 1 घंटा कंप्यूटर से रीड कर करके और पेपर करना पड़ेगा, इट इज चैलेंजिंग. सो प्लीज फेमिलराइज योरसेल्फ फ्रॉम रीडिंग फ्रॉम अ कंप्यूटर स्क्रीन. सेकेंडली, दैट बिकॉज इट इज अ कंप्यूटर बेस्ड टेस्ट, तो आपको एक सेंटर पे जाना है, वहां पे आपको एक सीट एलोकेट होगी, एक कंप्यूटर सिस्टम दिया जाएगा which is not going to be as comfortable as your own computer. So you should know how to manage if there is some issue with the laptop. You should know how to manage if there is some issue with the computer screen, keyboard, mouse. There is not going to be an AC in your maybe the center that you're going to be going to. So please make sure that you're able to make yourself comfortable with all the things that might go wrong at that time during that center, which means that you have to practice at least 5 to 10 papers before you go to the center. And third thing, the most important thing, जो portal होगा, it is going to be a different style of portal. So students should know what that portal is going to look like, and उनको practice करनी चाहिए उस portal पे कम से कम 5 से 10 बार. Because अगर कोई बच्चा है, चाहे वो topper student हो, if that student has not practiced on a computer screen, that kid is not going to do as well as compared to somebody who has practiced, because this is a new format. So computer-based test, would have all these things as something that you should take as a learning, and accordingly you should practice before you go for the final exam. Anything you want to add?
No, I think, we used to have a computer-based exam before previous year. So last year was pen and paper, उससे पहले computer-based ही होता था. और इसके अंदर एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज आता है कि जब computer-based exam होगा, तो फिर से सारे बच्चों का सेम पेपर नहीं आएगा, अलग अलग बच्चों का अलग अलग पेपर हो जाता है. सो दैट इज अ बिगर ट्रिकी सिचुएशन कि आप ऐसा नहीं होगा कि हर दिन एग्जाम होगा और इंग्लिश का एग्जाम 15 दिन हो सकता है और 15 दिन अलग अलग पेपर आएगा और फिर उसको इक्विवेलेट करके और फिर इक्वी परसेंटाइल कैलकुलेट किया जाएगा, विच इज अ वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोसेस. सो वो एक ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है जो समझने की जरूरत है कि आप सबका सिंगल पेपर नहीं आएगा कि भाई सबने एक जैसा पेपर किया, सबके एक जैसे मार्क्स आ गए, उसके हिसाब से मार्क्स स्कोरिंग होगी. हर किसी का पेपर अलग आएगा, उसके हिसाब से स्कोरिंग होगी.
So this is the first change which has happened. Moving on. ड्यूरेशन. सो अभी तक जो भी सीयूईटी के एग्जाम्स होते थे ना, तो हर एक पेपर का अलग अलग दिन एग्जाम होता था. दिस ईयर व्हाट हैज हैपेंड इज द ड्यूरेशन हैज बीन इंक्रीज्ड फ्रॉम 45 मिनट्स टू 60 मिनट्स. लास्ट ईयर तक कुछ एग्जाम्स होते थे 45 मिनट्स के, कुछ एग्जाम्स होते थे 60 मिनट्स के. इस बार गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया, गवर्नमेंट ने बोला सारे एग्जाम्स जितने भी होंगे, देयर आर अराउंड आई थिंक 40 प्लस एग्जाम्स, ऑल ऑफ देम would be of 60 minutes. The good part with this is that kids would get now more time to solve that paper. They would have more time to spend on every single question, and there is less confusion with respect to यार कौन सा 60 minutes का है, कौन सा 50 minutes का है, कौन सा 45 minutes का है. So this is something which is a saving grace कि जो time है वो बढ़ गया है. So in 60 minutes, you would have to do X number of questions, which is good and comfortable for the students. Anything you want to add?
No, I think the only thing is that I mean जो एग्जाम के requirements हैं वो 60 minutes में पेपर उतना लेंदी होने वाला है और पेपर की requirements उस हिसाब से questions बढ़ा दिए जाएंगे. So that is how it's going to be difficult and different.
2025, what is going to be happening is that with respect to the difficulty of the paper, it is going to increase. And why is it going to increase is, so till last year, students were given 50 questions, out of which 40 questions were only allowed to be done. So 10 questions essentially were your, backup questions, which you could miss if you were not very confident of those questions. But now this year, what has happened is that all questions have become compulsory. So all 50 questions are compulsory. A student who has practiced well is going to be doing all 50 questions and that to right. So it has become more competitive because pehle the breathing space which was there, which was those 10 questions, are not there anymore. So you have to actually now compete with other students, because if you don't, there would be somebody who is going to be doing that extra question right, and you are going to be losing on those 5 marks or 6 marks, depending upon if you have marked it right or incorrectly. So, take away from this that now all 50 questions are compulsory is, first, the paper is going to become more lengthy. So you have 60 minutes as time, which is an increased time, but the questions have also increased from 40 to 50. This is number one. Second, that you have to be sure of whatever question you are attempting, because you don't have a choice of leaving a question. And third, that all 50 questions are compulsory. So you can't be leaving any chapter, any topic, because you never know what question could come from which chapter. So what even we used to suggest to a couple of our students till last year were that if there are 1 or 2 chapters which were not part of your CBSE board exam, we used to tell them don't take, even read those chapters, because you have 10 questions, you have that grace of 10 questions. So if any question comes which is coming from this particular chapter, you leave it and you attempt the other questions. But now that choice is gone. You have to read every single line. You have to be prepared for every single question paper and every single chapter, because you never know which question can come from which area. And as you know that all 50 questions are compulsory, so you can't be leaving any stone unturned in order to make sure that you have that perfect CUET score. And I tell it all the time that CUET is not a question paper where you have to only attempt 40%, 50%, 60%. It's a paper where you have to get perfection marks, because you see students scoring 800 and 800, 788, 794. So people and students actually have to score really well to be able to make it to a good college. Anything you want to add?
So what is going to happen is that the exam is going to become more and more difficult as the years pass by. And this is now going to be a game changer, because up till now, if you have choices, then people can get away with a lot of things. And when we were teaching students, when we were asking them to prepare for CVT, we were telling them, okay, this is what you should leave, all dicey questions. So the problem is, those questions which are, on the margin, which are the borderline questions where you don't know what is the right answer. On those questions, you need to really think and get the right answer. And this is going to be the game changer now. So earlier, the right selection of question was an important factor. Now, that part is not important. What is important is how well do you know your syllabus? How well are you prepared for it? And how you're going to go about the entire story. So I think that is going to be a very, very big differentiator. For example, vocabulary, English, now you need to know every single word. You don't have the choice. For example, accountancy, not-for-profit organization, you can't say, I don't know not-for-profit organizations. For business studies, if some topic is not there, you have to know it, because there'll be some question asked. So you can't really get away and say, oh, I don't know this topic, I don't know this topic. And that is probably going to be a very, very big difficulty for this time.
Okay, the next changes. So these are a couple of other changes which are happening. So now what has happened is that there is reduction in the number of subjects that we had. So previously we had, I think, around 60 subjects. Now there are a lot of subjects that have been reduced. 1 second. So there are a lot of changes, a lot of subjects that has been reduced. For all those subjects, now we just have to give one single exam, which is general aptitude test, which is going to include GK, which is going to include logical reasoning, and which is also going to include
mathematical
quantitative ability, mathematical ability. So that GAT is going to be a revised name for general test. A good thing which NTA has done, National Testing Agency has done, is till last year, what they used to tell students is that you can't be sitting for a paper in CUET if you have not studied that paper in class 12. This has changed now. So let's say, for example, I am a commerce student. I did not have maths in CBSE or in my class 12. Now, when I'm giving CUET, I can add mathematics as a subject in CUET. I can read mathematics separately apart from my class 12 and can sit for maths paper in CUET. So even if you don't have a subject in class 12, you can still sit for the subject in your CUET paper, which open doors for a lot of students who don't have certain subjects in your class 12. So it is absolutely okay if you don't have a subject in your class 12, do it separately, read it separately, sit for it in CUET separately, and that particular subject would be considered as a subject for you in your CUET exam. So now it becomes very easy for you to switch your stream in case you want to switch your stream. Also, students, one other thing which has happened is that a lot of subjects have been removed from your CUET list of subjects. For example, entrepreneurship, which is one of the popular subjects that a lot of students used to take, that has been removed. So there is a comprehensive list of subjects that have been removed from the revised list. You can refer to any of the news articles and you can go through those subjects which have been removed. So please make sure that you don't fill any of those subjects in the CUET form. You don't read any of those subjects for your CUET exam. So please get updated. So, what we've seen in CUET 2025 is that I'll just quickly give a recap that mode has changed from OMR to now CBT, and it is fully CBT, computer-based test. The duration has changed from 45 minutes to 60 minutes. The options have been removed. All 50 questions are now compulsory as compared to 40 out of 50 last year. Number of subjects have been slashed. A couple of subjects like entrepreneurship have been removed, and students are now given an option to take subjects which they have not taken in their class 12th in CUET exam.